Winning ugly is winning ugly, and at the last second, this team can still get it done. How did they survive the Broncos on Locked On Chiefs?
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, friends and neighbors. Chiefs Kingdom around the world. We are brought to you by PrizePicks. Check them out by going to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use our code LockedOnNFL. You'll get $50 instantly when you bet 5. We have a lot to go over. I put it on the thumbnail. Turn it up. They didn't, but they escaped with a win. We're going to tell you why, what, when, and how. This is Matt Derrick up here from ChiefsDigest.com. You can get him at ChiefsDigest.com or Chiefs Digest here on YouTube. My buddy, Chris Clark, over at KC Chiefs Corner. You can get him there. Make sure you subscribe to his Substack. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting. NFL33.com, where I just put out a piece yesterday, and you'll get another one from me this week. And RGR Football, in case you missed it live. That's where a lot of fun stuff happens. We have a lot to go over. Plenty there. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Make sure that you check out the text line at 816-357-8781 and get subscribed anywhere and everywhere you can get a podcast, video, audio, or otherwise, because that's where you can find us. But you're already here, so let's get after it. The standouts and the game balls will come later. We're going to have to do some soul searching for that. How is this team underperforming this badly? That's coming up next, but we start right now. This is like, I'm trying to think of the fable. Is it hair of the chinny chin chin, Matt? They get out with their lives within an inch here. They honestly, I think we're lucky to survive this team. Take away from the 30,000-foot level, how did this happen? What do the Chiefs look like today?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways you could look at it. I mean, one, you can say, hey, this team gave up 14 points. You give up 14 points, you should win most of the time, if not all the time, when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. So you'll get that picture, and I think you could certainly make a compelling case that the offense underperformed today. And that's been a consistent story through the 9 start. Defense has not always been consistent. You could also look at this defense and say, wait a minute, they were going up against Bo Nix, a rookie quarterback that has had a lot of success against rookie quarterbacks in the past. And the defense wasn't terribly productive. I mean, they gave up the 14 first points, cracked down in the second half, but, the defense wasn't as productive as it usually is. The defensive line wasn't getting sacks. When they did sacks, it was because they're bringing some blitzes. They gave up, I think, more yards than you'd be comfortable with. But then you look at the final numbers and you're saying, okay, well, you only gave up 260 yards. I mean, the numbers feel good. I guess it's just that you look at this and you think, okay, the Chiefs and the Broncos are not even level teams, that this just should have been a more comfortable win. So why wasn't it a more comfortable win? I mean, I have a hard time coming down to anything else other than just saying that the offense continues to be inconsistent. And that was the story of the day. And had it not been for the last second of the game, it would have been the one that we're talking about today.
7 for 16. Third downs. That's the story of the game for me. That is something that they have been doing very well on for the past 3 or 4 games. They have been phenomenal on third down offense, and they just couldn't get it done today. They ended up having 2 fourth downs, getting the first down or first down or touchdown both times. Those were huge plays, but you can't go 7 for 16 on third downs and usually be successful as an offense. That is going to hurt you. And they only converted 2 of their third and shorts and 2 of their third and mediums, and then 3 of their third and longs, which they had a ton of. So, I mean, you're in a situation where you continuously couldn't convert on those downs. That's going to slow your offense down. And I said this on X earlier, and I'll say it here. Patrick Mahomes deserved to lose this game. I love Patrick Mahomes. He's a great quarterback, but he missed plays that could have cost his team the game. This is a team win. I understand that. And they were able to get it done on defense. They were able to get it done on special teams. Thank you, Leo Chenal, for a huge block in running over the guy in front of him on that field goal. But Patrick Mahomes didn't have his A game today. It looked like he missed some throws high, and I wonder if that ankle is hurting him a little bit more than we would expect it to.
Entirely possible. I mean, because a couple of those high throws, I think and certainly the overthrow against Kelsey, I think you would absolutely say he just threw it a little bit off of his back foot. And when he does that, he's consistently sails the football, and that's usually a fairly correctable thing to do. But was that a result of him not feeling comfortable in the ankle, or was that a matter of him absolutely rooting for his life for 2.5 quarters. There's just no way to sugarcoat it. And I don't like, having to call out a player, especially one who's struggling, but you expected to see Kingsley Suamataia come into the game if he had to, and come in and show some progression, from the time that he's been out and Wanya has been starting, and that you're going to be able to see him, develop a little bit. I saw regression, guys. That was the concern, was that I think that Kingsley looked worse in those 2.5 quarters he played today than he did in the first couple of games of the season. That's scary. So, it's something to look at. Especially since, Wanya came back into the game. Looks like they're going to have him. We'll see what happens in the next few days. With those kind of injuries, things are going to swell up and be a lot more painful. Wanya told me that the knee just buckled and did not feel comfortable. Did x-rays. All the tests here were negative, and that's why they felt comfortable going ahead and putting him back into the game. I wouldn't be surprised if they do an additional test, including an MRI, just to make sure he's 100%. But obviously, you saw Wanya go in, and Wanya played better. But you even still saw it. There were still some breakdowns in protection. Even when Wanya came back in, I think like the first snap that he came back in, Broncos ran a blitz just right up the middle that everybody wasn't accounted for. That continues to be concerning, because that's the strength of your line. And if you're making some just poor assignment choices and identification, that's a separate issue. But no, there was no Chiefs player today more in need of a hug than Kingsley Suamataia, because that was just a rough 2.5 quarters of football to watch.
It really was. And
I agree.
I think one of the things they need to work on with him is
be able to bounce back.
He
will be able to bounce back because he is that level of a player, but it does take some time. On the positive side, this was the first game in a long time where there were no turnovers. I think that's at least a bright ray of sunshine that you can look to and try to get to the next point. But in the end, Matt, they squeeze it out. They're 9-0. Maybe they would have been better off losing this ball game in order to kind of reset expectations, etc. But they have to move forward. And how they do that is probably going to be the biggest adjustment that they've had this season. Would you see something bigger than that?
No, I really don't. And, you look at this game and Chris makes the point about, third downs were okay. It's not as good as you would like to have. And, I think they picked up 2 of 3 first downs on their very first drive. So they were even like 5 of 13 the rest of the game. That's where this offense is. They're the best third down team in the league. Mahomes has been the best third down quarterback in the league. But today, what was the difference? Well, Hunt's, struggling as far as just, yards per carry. That's been going down week by week. I have no doubt a little bit of that is the workload. Today, 14 carries, 35 yards, 2.5 yards a carry. If those are your first down touches and now you're facing second and 7.5, that's why you're not converting third downs. And they did convert some because, hey, they had some great catches. They had 3 guys go over 50 yards. Kareem had his most receiving yards than he's had in more than 3 years. And that's something that they really haven't tapped into. And I think that they want to, because we know from watching him back in 17 and 18 that Kareem is a terrific receiving back. And I think Cleveland, in just the state of Cleveland being the one of the 8 teams in the NFL that consistently that doesn't know what they're doing, they never utilized him in the right way. And now, the Chiefs, if running with Kareem is too hard, look what they did today. 7 catches, 65 yards. He can still make things happen there. So I was glad to see that. I think that's an improvement going forward. And maybe that's one of the adjustments that they're going to have to make is they've been, in this stretch, they've been leaning a lot on Kareem and a lot on the run game. Andy likes to throw the football. So if they get back to a 65-35 pass run split and it's Kareem getting more touches in the passing game, I don't see anything wrong with that.
4 explosive plays on offense, 4 big passing plays. That was huge. 2 of them to running backs, 1 to Kareem Hunt, 1 to Samaje Perine, another to Travis Kelce, and another DeAndre Hopkins. That's something this offense has missed most of the season. The one thing I would throw out there on Kingsley Suamataia, his struggles seem to be, at least from some of the snaps I saw, if they have a tight end lined up outside, he cannot get deep enough, quick enough. If the guy is chipping him, that is something that he's going to have to work on to try to get better. We're going to talk a little bit more about what is happening with this team and how they are underperforming right after this. Our fans over at 5 Hour Energy know that being a passionate football fan isn't just a hobby. It is a way of life. It takes a lot of energy to power through all-day tailgates, touchdown celebrations, or an agonizing second overtime, which is why they've created the Stand the Fan 5-hour energy shot with a special flavor called Fan Fuel. The energy shot made just for super fans like you. The fans who were first in the parking lot and who are the last to leave. We see you. You know what else gave me a little bit of Chiefs fan fuel this week? The moment when DeAndre Hopkins caught his first pass from Patrick Mahomes. That showed what his value can be to this team. That was a big moment, and it shows how much of an impact he can have this season for this team. 5-Hour Energy knows that no matter what team you root for, being a fan requires heart, soul, and a whole lot of energy. Whether you're prepping for the big tailgate or ironing your jersey, your game day to-do list is always a mile long. That's why the limited edition Stand the Fan 5-Hour Energy Shot is here to help keep you fueled throughout the season. What's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it is, do it with the 5-Hour Energy. Available on 5hourenergy.com, shipped nationwide.
PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. PrizePicks has daily fantasy sports and makes it accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your money. Run your game all season long at PrizePicks. They make it simple, and they even invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out, even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money, even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So sign up today, and you can get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. You don't even have to win to receive that 50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the Gametime app and use our code LOCKEDONNFL, and you're going to get $50 instantly after you play a $5 lineup. Super simple. Download that app, use our code LOCKEDONNFL, and get that 50 bonus for playing a $5 lineup. Super easy over at PrizePicks. It takes a lot to win a ball game. It also takes a lot of influence to have some things go wrong. This team is underperforming at this point in a number of ways, but they're still able to eke out these wins. And I think that's probably the thing that bothers the fan base the most, is that you don't see potential being realized, Matt. But I will say this, while the defensive line didn't get as much pressure as they needed to, they did rebound of what was a pretty stout run from the Broncos early. And I thought they, down the stretch, they shored that up. They were able to get a 3 and out there in the second half. They were able to kind of circle the wagons. And I think for a team that needs to be pushed, that certainly did that. This was a good defense, and honestly, this was a team that came in to take the crown from them. How did you feel about the defense's rebound and where they were underperforming?
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably where I'm a little bit of an outlier today, because, I mean, I'm looking at this team and saying they're 9-0. I mean, we're really nitpicking when we're talking about some things that are underperforming. And, you know, and especially on the defensive side, because once again, you give up 14 points. That's a win situation in the NFL most of the time. This defense did what it has consistently been doing, which even if it gives up 14 points in the first half, 0 points in the second half, and, you know, and they stemmed the tide. It took a block field goal with a second left. I get that, but they stemmed the tide of giving up 8 scores that were, you know, causing them problems and making, you know, games that they were winning comfortably a little bit closer at the end. So, you know, I'm willing to give the defense essentially a free pass for a lot of this, because I think the Broncos also came in with, for them, the best game plan possible, and they still didn't get it pulled off. I mean, so then it's just back to the offense, and what's the issue there? Well, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt today. The left tackle situation was the one thing that really hurt them. What else hurt them? The run game. Well, guess what? You're going to get Isaiah Pacheco back, and at some point, and that's going to make you feel better. Then receiving wise, I mean, you're working DeAndre Hopkins in. The fact that no other receivers essentially contributed. You know, Xavier Worthy had the 1 catch for 11. Justin Watson 2 for 6. McColl 1 for 3. Justin Ross target, no catch. That was not a catchable ball, but you know, the fact that you're only getting production from one guy, that's a problem. But the Chiefs also feel like that they're going to get some guys back that are going to help them down, and they could get one of those back with Juju next week. So, you know, Chiefs, I think the big picture thing to look at it from Andy Reid's standpoint, from Brett Veach's standpoint, is they're not super concerned about, you know, just how things are going right now, because they're looking at the big picture. They're worried about, is this team going to be underperforming come January? And that's why, today I think that there were some small steps that they take in the right direction. You get some guys like Jaden Hicks that are getting a lot more playing time. And those are going to be guys that you're going to be counting on as key reserves down the road. They're starting to work those young guys in. Ozzie Johnson has a heck of a game today. Leo Chanel, a big play. I mean, you've got some players that are starting to contribute in different ways. And that's what this team, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, Andy Reid and Brett Veach, what they want to do with this year, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, they don't care by and large about the 17 regular season games. Some of the players are starting to get asked now, have you thought about, going undefeated? That important. No one cares, because the one thing that they want to do is three-peat. And how do you three-peat? Well, you do it by performing in January and February. And what you do in November when you're 9-0 doesn't matter that much as long as you're moving in the right direction.
They have a huge game coming up next week. I know we're talking about this one, but going into Buffalo, winning that game would be a long way towards getting to a chance to three-peat and getting the number one seed. So that's something to watch. But I agree with you. They are not caring about what they're doing right now and how they're playing right now. They want to get better in January. And the one thing I will say, I also agree, getting Juju back I think would be a big thing. I'm hoping he comes back against Buffalo. That would be a huge win for them. But Patrick has to be a little bit better throwing the deep ball. He missed Worthy on a shot that should have been an easy walk-in score, and it was 5 yards out of bounds. He has to hit that type of play. He has to put it in, at least in play, so Worthy can try to go get it. Those are the types of things that will make this team that much better. And yes, Worthy had a rough day. He had a drop early. Wouldn't have been a very big catch, but it was a drop. And it's just something you got to continue to work through. And hopefully with getting Juju back, I think that's going to help the offense. Noah Gray's continued to show that he has the ability to play. But when you look at it and flip it over to the other side of the ball, I mean, defensively, they held Estime to 53 yards rushing, and that's really it. I mean, Williams only got 1 yard on his rush, and they had two wide receivers that went for a total of 29 on 5 rushes. I will take that. They're continuing to shut down the run. I think that's a huge thing going into the rest of the season. So defensively, I think they're going to continue to get better. And you saw blitzes get home, which is the only time they got to Bo Nix. That's a little bit of a problem. They need to create pressure with their front four.
I think that they're going to be able to tune that back up as they move forward. Obviously, they're going to be another matchup against this team. I think we'll see a different team at that point, hopefully having peaked or at least on the way to a peak. But you have to have standouts in order to give out game balls. We have them both coming up next.
Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NFL and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% at omahasteaks.com, OMAHA steaks.com, and an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. Minimum purchase may apply.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers, you can bet just $5 and you get $150 back in bonus bets if you win right now. FanDuel Sportsbook, the app, gives you everything that you need to get bets in place for the NFL all in one place. So when you got a hunch in the middle of the game, you want to check out the latest stats, you live by that play-by-play, you can do that and much more in the same page right where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com today and join. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 and official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Matt, it's good to stand out. Sometimes folks stand out in a bad way. Sometimes it's a positive way. I want to hit a couple of the minor ones, the guys that didn't get in much fanfare, and see what you thought. The two that stood out to me the most were Chamari Connor making some open field tackles, being where he needed to be. And I know it wasn't probably an impactful play at the end of it, but McCole Hardman and that failed field goal that he actually returned, trying to make something out of nothing. We give McCole a lot of static about trying too many things. I thought that was really an effort worth rewarding and at least shouting him out. How did you feel?
Yeah, that run was pretty spectacular, and I thought there was a chance that I thought he was going to break it. And I wonder if he had gone left instead of right from the very beginning. That was where the wall was kind of built up, and I know he saw a hole there and thought he could hit it, but then running across. I haven't seen the next gen stats yet. I want to, because he had to run more than 100 yards on that play. And I talked to him about it after the game, and I'll have a brief piece on Chiefs Digest later. But he said his legs were still sore from that run after the game. So that could have been a real spark. And I think a little bit of a spark, because it certainly got the fans, excited. Could have been, a real depressing moment going into halftime, but having a moment like that, I think, did add a little life to the building. So yeah, it's play that didn't result in anything, but it did kind of jolt everybody. And I'm completely with Shamari Connor, and I'll throw in Chris Roland Wallace as well, because he had a really nice plays, a really nice blitz that almost got home. Najee Johnson picks up his first career sack. I thought that across the board, and Jaden Hicks, once again, I mean, he gets 2 tackles, and both of them were thumpers. I mean, I just can't wait to see this guy get more and more playing time, because he hits with an authority that I think is going to be a turnover machine. He's going to start popping some footballs out, because, if you lay out a receiver in front of him, he's not afraid to take the hit.
You talk about Shamari Connor. I thought what I really liked and I saw was they had all 4 safeties on the field at once, because Shamari Connor came in and played nickel a lot. I'm not going to say it was every time that they were in the nickel situation, but he played nickel a lot. So he's on the field, and they bring in Hicks, and you still have Cook and Reed on the field as well. You've got all 4 of those guys rotating through, and they can do so many things. That was fantastic to see. And I think that's something that they're going to be able to build on as you continue to go on. The thing that I'm going to throw out there really quick is just a quick standout special teams wise. This team is coached very well. I don't understand what Tobe was thinking with the last kickoff with Butker. I don't think that was a smart decision to try to kick it short in that instance. But to watch them block the field goal, and then to watch Josh Williams see it was blocked and go run and get it and get on the ball and make sure it's a down play, that shows you how well they're coached on special teams. He saw the block. He knew it's a live ball, because all it takes is somebody not thinking about it, and that's an easy touchdown for the Broncos to go pick up, because it didn't get outside the lines.
And I don't want to give away all the secrets, but I still want you to go to Chiefs Digest later. But I will tell you, talking to Harrison Butker, he said that was intended to be a kick out of the end zone, and he just mishit it. He said it just happens sometimes, and he was really frustrated because he felt like he let the team down. I think that obviously he's hit enough game-winning kicks that I think his teammates understand, and they obviously, the defense and the special teams, on the other side, bailed him out. So those things do even out, and but there was a little bit of maybe gamesmanship after the game about whether the Chiefs really did pick up something on the Broncos special teams, blocking, as far as if they really had something planned that they were able to get to in a moment if they needed it. It's not 100%, because we were different age from different people. Andy Reid kind of said, yeah, there's a little something there, and then well, maybe not. And Dave Tobe talked to some people, and and he kind of said, there wasn't anything special on. But we know that the Chiefs nitpick things incredibly. A year ago against the Broncos, Justin Reid had a blocked goal. And, he did that because he'd picked up on a tell. It was something that he saw on film, thought, hey, if the time it comes and we need it, go for it. And he got a block in exactly that situation. So you're right, Chris. I mean, the homework that they do and the preparation, and the Chiefs spend probably more time on special teams than almost any team in the league. And it shows in moments like this.
And I saw you tweet out about Justin Reid. Love that.
I thought Justin was going to get the game-winning block.
I thought so too. It looked from the lineup that he very well might. And besides the underperforming and a bad kick, that sometimes those things happen, You have to overcome those. This team did. And I want to shout out one other thing, because we haven't had the chance to say this very often. We've talked early in the season about red zone woes, right? 2 for 2 on 4th down today. When they had to go get downs to reset and keep themselves alive, they were able to do that. So that's progression. If you're looking for the ray of sunshine, folks, that's the progression that we're seeing here. And a lot of guys could be up for making that impact that deserves a game ball. Matt, who gets yours?
Yeah, a lot of different directions you could go, both offensively and defensively. I'm going to go with one of the unsung heroes, because he was kind of a sung hero today. Najee Johnson. Remember, Najee had never played a defensive snap coming into this season, even though this is his 3rd year in the league. And here he is, because of injuries, inserted into the starting lineup and playing more football than he expected or the Chiefs expected. Career high 10 tackles today. His first, career NFL sack. Couple of big moments. And when we talked about, hey, the Chiefs were able to stop the Broncos and the Broncos, one of their strategies was to try and get rid of the football quick, to minimize what Chris Jones and the defensive line was doing, get that to receivers isolated in space, and see what they could do. And consistently, the Chiefs stopped them. And one of the biggest guys was Najee. I mean, that's what really set up a lot of those tackles, was making catches against receivers who were isolated and just trying to make a play. And he pretty much played flawlessly in those tackles. And yeah, I mean, there's still going to be some ups and downs for him, but I thought this was an incredible step forward. This should be a big confidence booster for both himself and the defense, about just believing in Najee. So I think this could be the beginning really for him, especially if and when they get Jalen Watson back. They could have a really potent, lineup there at corner behind Trent McDuffie.
Ryan, who gets your game ball?
It's a tough one, and this guy gets it because of not necessarily what he produced on the field, although kudos to him. It's about the resilience. It's tough to play through this season, especially when you didn't have the preparation of training camp and everything. The run game was not there for Kareem Hunt today. They were bottling it up. They understood how to attack it, a 2.5 average on the ground. But when you had to shift your game plan, when you had to make adjustments, he was able to do that. Ends up the leading receiver in yardage, 7 catches on only 10 targets, looking like a bit of the Kareem Hunt of old. When you needed to make that adjustment, he was there for you, and he got it done. Let's hope that he can stay healthy. He gets my game ball today.
Yeah, and he ran over a guy on the sideline on that long pass that he caught. I love seeing that. I have to give a honorable mention to Steve Spagnuolo, because after the first 2 touchdowns, they stopped Denver, and that was huge. And let's not forget, going into halftime, it looked like Denver was going to get in field goal range, and the Chiefs defense held tall and kept them to a 60-yard try. That's a different game if he kicks that field goal there. And I have to also give an honorable to Travis Kelce for the 2 4th down conversions. He caught the touchdown, but he also blocked for Kareem Hunt's 2-yard run. That was huge. Game ball of mine has to go to Leo Chenal, though. Nobody bigger coming through and just absolutely pancaking the guy trying to block him and just running him over and blocking that kick and blocking the field goal to get the Chiefs victory with 1 second left on the clock as they kick the ball. It was just absolutely awesome to see. Strongest man pound for pound, as they say, on this team, and he certainly proved it on that specific play.
It was a performance that'll go in the books as a win. It took everybody to get it done. It took you to be with us today, Matt. Thanks for hitting us up, letting us know what happened at the ball game from the stadium. We appreciate your time after a game like this.
Can't write any better than this. This is, I don't know how this team continues to do it, guys.
Happy they did.
Winning ugly is still winning. Right?
Yep.
Folks,
right.
We hope that you'll tune in. We're going to have Matt back in midweek as we get ready for the next ball game. We'll break it all down for you tomorrow. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell. Be with us. Check out ChiefsDigest.com. KC Chiefs Corner, RGR Football. We're all there all the time. Thanks for being with us in your post-game live stream. Chiefs win versus the Broncos, 9-0. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.